Hello, everyone, and welcome. We have another edition of Talking Taylor this Tuesday night. First off, I want to say a quick shout out to everyone that has been able to join us. We've had some wonderful digital programming in Denver, as well as in our first performance that was live stream in Philadelphia last Friday, which was wonderful to be back on stage, and so loved it, enjoyed it, and cannot wait to do more dancing for you. Today we have Maria Ambrose joining us, one of the coolest dancers I know. So let's get her on and start chatting. There she is. She's in the jungle. Are you in Jurassic Park?
I sure am.
All of a sudden, just this thing comes out from behind you. That's a T-Rex, Maria. Hi.
Long time no see.
Oh my gosh, it's been forever.
Full 40 minutes.
If anybody wants to know what we were doing today, we put together the last section of funny papers, and Maria was nice enough to just throw me over her shoulder and some lifts. So it was great. Wonderful. I hope your trip home is a nice one.
It was quick. I got here. I had to get in the jungle and get ready for this.
Oh, totally. You had to feed the plants. So Maria, let's go back to the beginning. Are you a native New Englander?
I sure am.
Where are you from?
I'm from a small town in New Hampshire, central New Hampshire. It's right on Lake Winnipesaukee. So cold, icy winters, but really beautiful, hot, busy summers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So lots of time spent on the lake.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, between the two of us, you're going to get a better tan, which is obvious. So I support you in that. So then what brought you into dance? Were you just on the lake, let's do the hula? What's going on?
Yeah. I mean, I started a lot of, toddlers do with the tap, jazz, ballet. My mom, who I think is watching. Hi, Mom. She's a dancer, and she studied at Adelphi University. Around the So I've been hearing about Kathy McCann my entire life. I know, so full circle. But so she taught dance also in a small town, and I just, like most little toddlers do, with tap, jazz, lyrical, but the bug bit me hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you doing competitions when you were in school, or was it mostly just recitals?
Recitals, yeah. It was chill, but I guess it must have been in my bones. I wanted more, and I wanted modern dance. I wanted serious modern dance.
Had you seen any modern at that point?
Not really, no. I think that's the way I would dance around the house. It was walking Taylor walks, even though I didn't see.
Who knows what it is? Yeah, amazing. Exactly.
But also, Amy Marshall is from the same town as me, or the town next over. Yeah, so she went to the same high school. So I think middle school, she came back with her company, and there was a little newspaper clipping that said any local dancers that want to come and audition can perform with the company in the little community center. And so obviously I was there, and that was when I was oh yeah, this is right. this is what I've been waiting for.
Oh my gosh. For any viewers that don't know, Amy Marshall is an alumni of Taylor too, who, along with another alumni, Chad Levy, established her own dance company, and actually have had quite a number of alumni from her company join the Paul Taylor Dance Company. So she's very much like family to us. That's so weird, but also amazing. So, okay, so with that experience, then you were hooked on dance, right?
Oh, and Taylor specifically.
Yeah. So is that why, so then what drew you, because you went to George Mason, right?
Yes. So I was looking around, and being from a small town, I wanted so badly to move right to New York City, but it just felt very daunting to do that. So I looked at programs outside the city that I looked at the faculty, and Ani DiNapoli was on the faculty at George Mason, along with many wonderful, incredibly accomplished dancers. But from Taylor, I was drawing, connecting the dots, how can I just keep Taylor in my life and make sure that I'm studying it. And she was there, and I went down for the audition, and the campus is beautiful. The facilities are amazing. And I knew that I would be able to have tailor training there, along with a bunch of the faculty there coming from Mark Morris, from Lauren Lubavitch, from White Oak. Yeah, so it was just win-win.
Yeah,
That brought
totally.
It feels so really, I was like very specific about it.
Side panel, how was it moving from New Hampshire to Virginia?
It was weird. It was the weirdest thing was when it would snow a little bit in the winter, it was like full shutdown and no one could drive. I mean, no offense anyways, but the driving was like, I'm used to like New Hampshire sleet and snow and still having to drive to school. But that was the biggest difference when the winter came. There'd be like a little tiny snowfall and everyone would be like, shut down. So.
Yeah, I say that doing the opposite, which is like coming from Texas to New York, every Southerner buys the ugliest coat that's basically a blanket to wear. And then eventually you're like, oh, okay, maybe I don't have to wear this heinous black, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And like be in like random, I was like in hiking boots and then I slipped down the subway. It wasn't a pretty first transition to like northern winters, but, oh, okay. So did Connie stage anything when you were at George Mason? Like, did you perform a full like Taylor rep piece or were you just like learning rep excerpts in class?
Learning rep excerpts in class. So I actually just missed Esplanade by a year. So Patrick Corbin at Esplanade, and then I came in the next year. But then Patrick Corbin came my freshman year and set his work. So at least I got Patrick.
Yeah, I got Patrick.
Yeah. So Connie, yeah, she would teach a lot of straight rep in class. Like, for example, I learned the dust jig as my final exam for 3 different years. That was my final exam.
Which is that, I mean, props to Connie, because like that jig is the perfect test. Because like if you can like get through that, like you'll be fine.
Exactly, and I'm so grateful because when I came in and understudied it, also anytime it's been at an audition, I've been like, thank you.
Good on you, Connie. We appreciate you. Amazing. So you had this wonderful time with Connie, and then it was like your time to move to New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you do when you got here? Like, were you auditioning? Like, what were you at the school? What was going on?
So I moved here the night that I graduated.
Oh, wow.
Walked down in my cap and gown, got in the car with my parents, drove right up to the city and stayed that night in New York City. Yeah, and then I started auditioning right away. There was one Taylor audition like around when it used to be in May, like around all the graduations. And then I auditioned about a month later for a Lisa Monte dance. And they hired me as an apprentice, which was incredible because it was basically like a month out of college. Wow. So right had that structure and rehearsal schedule, and I worked with Elisa Monte, and Tiffany Ray Fisher was transitioning in as the new artistic director. So I overlap, which was really incredible, especially like so new to the city. It was helpful for me to have a schedule of like company class at 9 or 10 and then rehearse till 5. So I'm so grateful for that job.
Yeah. And Elisa also has like a solid Graham background, right? Like, very much so. So that was probably nice to also kind of have a very structured company existence and like a modern dance kind of repertory. Yes,
exactly. And I'd seen her work. I actually did an Elisa Monte piece my sophomore year at George Mason, and then her work at the Joyce those following years. I was familiar with it and just felt like it was a good fit for me. But yeah, and then Elisa Monte herself is just like incredible. She's a worker.
Yeah. Which, I mean, and if anybody watches Billy on the Street, like that is just the best thing to do, right? It's just like run into like those quintessential New Yorkers.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, she would be amazing on that.
Did you guys tour a bunch? Like, did you get to travel around and do that lifestyle?
Yeah, we did. Mostly domestic tours. But then I got to go to Luxembourg for 2 seasons, and that was great. Yeah, there was a bit of touring. It was really nice. My first time that my first tour actually was one of those situations of can you learn this dance overnight? Here's a DVD. Step in. I was an apprentice, so I had to step in as an understudy, and it was very much like a high pressure. All right, can you learn this overnight? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I
And
can.
did you think that was like helpful? Like, is that something that you would recommend to other people of like maybe like you have your eyes set on a really like large company like Taylor, but also that like it's good to like take the other job. Maybe it's something that like they aren't a less than company, but maybe the company that like you don't want to spend your entire career at, like doing both. Because I know that you were also studying at the school because you were with me at that time.
Yeah.
So juggling both, like when you weren't with Elisa Monte, you were like here in the mornings for 10 a.m. class.
Yep. I would definitely recommend it. And I say that because I feel like I learned so much from working with a smaller company that I've brought to where I am now. Just the how to be prepared and how to work with others, and the being in this company of only 6 where you get a lot of attention, like a
Yeah.
lot of attention. You get to work a little bit slower on partnering because you're not like working so fast towards so many tour dates and so many shows. So the growth that I had there, I think I wouldn't trade for the world. It was so important. But then, yeah, the hard part was getting to the point of like, okay, I still know that I really want to be at Taylor. I need to be in class, but I can't be in class because I'm in rehearsal. So that I had to, make the decision for myself of I need to leave so that I can really go for this. So it was a timing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I would recommend that because at least you're working, and you're working and you're in an environment where you're dancing and you're learning rep and rehearsing, which I think is an important thing. You can only
Right.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in your like Taylor school years, like you and I go back. Like you were
Oh,
there when like Paul
I,
came in to get his coffee
yeah.
years, right? Which for those that don't know, that was probably like the most magical thing, right?
All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm so much taller, and
I
I'm not even
mean,
watching him.
yeah, exactly. I'm like trying to do a back exercise, but just like keeping like an eye like just right on the man.
Yeah.
Gosh. And he was so, I think my favorite part about it is how stealth he was about like watching us as he came in. Cause like you could never catch him like just staring at you. He always seemed to be like walking in, grabbing my coffee, pouring my milk in. But like you knew that there was like,
He
he could
saw
see
it.
it all.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Were you there that day? There was one day that he like it was a Lisa Viola class, and I don't think I was there that day because I would have remembered this. But he stopped class to give a note on like the back exercise, and I was so like upset that I wasn't there. But like I was just like, wait, what?
Was there either.
Gosh, you probably were on tour. I don't know. That would have just been like something else. Could you imagine? Just like Lisa, I got something to say.
Yeah, I wish. And I would never forget that. I would just hold on to that note.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Bring it up nowadays. Be like, Paul Taylor told me.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. And so
So
you were also like, wait, sorry, go ahead.
say that we go way. My first intensive that I did, you
Yeah,
were in class.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, came back. Look
Way, way back.
at this now.
Ah. I know. There's so many people that were at that intensive. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but like me, you were also volunteering. So like you and I were licking stamps and, writing
Selling.
names down.
Yeah.
Yeah, selling merch. Oh, that was fun. Um, but maybe there's a story about you watching a certain dance
Oh,
from the audience.
yes. Okay. So, like I said, I am not making this up just to like have a story to tell. This is total coincidence, but I remember specifically one matinee. I was volunteering at Lincoln Center, and Scudorama had just come back, or maybe it was like its second cycle back.
Yeah.
And I was sitting, my arms crossed, and I was like, what is this dance? Wow. Like this changes my whole perspective what I thought Taylor was. And Laura Halzak comes out in her red in the unitard, and she does that moment that now I know all too well, where you stand on one leg and you slowly lift a leg up in the air while you're looking at the ground, turn around, stand up. You do the same thing with the other leg. Mind you, you're by yourself in the middle of the stage at Lincoln Center. Turn around, and you do it one more time. Third time, have that leg on your leg, just balancing, stand up. I remember looking at it like this. I feel so bad for the person that has to do that after Laura Halsack. Because I cannot fathom how someone could just walk out on stage, stand center, and then 3 times stand on your leg while looking at the crowd, bent over. And then it ended up being me. I was the next person that did it.
Little did you know that like staring at the ground probably is your best bet, because otherwise like there is no floor to be seen. So she's a dart.
There was totally a lot that I learned, you know, that in that moment looking at it, I was like, no, and she does it again. And pure confidence. And so yeah, I was like, oof, I feel so bad for anyone who has to do that for that. I don't know, how do you do that? And then that next person.
You were. I mean, I do have to say, like, talk about like Princess Diaries, like miracles come true. Like, it's like you blinked and all of a sudden it's just like, okay, so like you need to take on the Scud solo, you need to take on the Angel and beloved Renegade, you know, with your new boss. Like, it was like bam, bam, and I was just like, okay, Maria's the queen of just like, okay, I'll step into this.
Yeah.
For show and tell time, I found this amazing New Yorker. This is actually a drawing by Alex Katz of Betty and Paul from the duet. You know that well.
Oh, yeah.
So pretty, so gorgeous.
Oh,
But yeah, talk to me about what it was like stepping into those 2 iconic roles, because one, like Beloved is iconically like Laura Halsack's part, right? And I think there could be an argument made that it's very much a Betty part, right? Like a statuesque, long female, this kind of like, not androgynous, but I don't know, there's like a warmth, but also reservedness that I felt like is very much akin to like Betty's parts. I also don't think it's that different than, say, the central role in the second section of Esplanade, which you've also taken on, right? Like, what is it like stepping into those parts where it's like, there is some dancey stuff, but there's also a lot of it that has to do with just kind of psychically being there and like kind of being a presence, but not doing a lot, just gestures maybe.
yeah. So I think it was a mental challenge for me.
Yeah.
Just that, like you said, that reserve and that cool calmness. And Laura, I was lucky enough to be able to work with both Betty and Laura on these roles. And what Laura helped me with is just sort of this inevitable being. Like, you know who you are, you know what's going to happen as far as the piece goes. So speaking specifically to Beloved, and I'm representing this angel of death.
Mm-hmm.
I know that nobody on stage can change the outcome of what's going to happen. So it's my role to just be so purely there and confident and present, just knowing exactly how this will all unfold. And so that actually helped, because having that specific direction, just I was able to sort of tap into that. And then even though I was on stage, my first show at Lincoln Center is on stage doing Beloved Renegade with my boss in a very tight unitard, standing on one leg. I wasn't thinking about any of that, actually, surprisingly. I was thinking about, okay, my role in this is to literally be the one being on the stage that knows how this is all going to unfold and knows that I'm in control, and that this outcome is inevitable. So it allowed me to sort of surrender into it. It allowed me to just give in. And that helped me with my nerves on stage as Maria Ambrose, as a dancer. I was able to just be like, all right, this is what I was chosen to do, and now I need to go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that the characters of it, and same with Scudorama, this sort of, because Betty helped me with that, with a woman as she walks out in the red unitard and circles and then just arrives in the center. It's again like this surrender of, I know what's going to happen to me, and I can't change it, so I'm going to give into it. And that, it really like helps get rid of any sort of nerves.
Yeah.
In a weird way. don't know if that makes any sense, but
It does.
yeah, that's what mentally how I got through all of it.
I mean, I know like your two closest besties are Lisa and Jada, and both of them discussed their kind of relationship with Betty and like getting coached by her. But of the three of y'all, you have taken on the majority of like Betty roles at this point. So like, what is that like working with her? Because like I know from listening to Christina talk about it and other people talk about it, like it's different, right? Like Betty's when she coaches me, it's a lot of information from her having like seen it maybe on the outside or seen it on stage. But for you, you are literally learning from the source, the person that, you know, Paul made this, you know, character on. So like what is the working relationship with Betty in that sort of way?
I feel like Betty just I mean she sees everything that we all do,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like she just sees everything that I do and she sees right through me. And I feel like she's able to connect in a way where she's experienced it obviously because it was created on her. So it's not only that she can give me these physical notes, but she can give me like mental and emotional notes of how to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I even even though she wasn't in Beloved Renegade, I remember doing the walking entrance where we all come in a line, and she called me over and she said, I'll say it in my own my own accent. She said, "You're trying to do it like Laura. I want you to do it like you."
Yeah.
And that was so important. And so I feel like she sees a lot of that with the second section of Esplanade as well. Like, you know, yes, this was made on me, and yes, I have a lot of specific notes to give you, but also you need to be you. You need
Yeah.
to be in your body, and you need
Yeah.
to do it. And that's what's so iconic and important about her roles, I think. And even in Scudorama, is that you have to be you doing it because it's such a central and standout part that if you leave you out of it, there's not going to be that commitment that you need.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really special getting to talk to her and work with her. It was amazing getting to pull up the Scoutorama DVD and stand right next to Betty and listen to her count and listen to her point and figure out where I need to be. And
Mm-hmm.
gosh, there's nothing that I treasure more. You know,
Right.
the fact that I'm able to have that and will always hold that with me. I total treasure to me.
Yeah. No. And I've been like standing behind her back watching her as she like does this coaching. And, you know, I think what is so important to her is that every role that you or I or any of us in the company take over is to be ourselves. Because I think that it's important to her that you know, she sees that Paul gave her the gift of this role and that he let her have it and take it on as herself, and that she wants to give that to us in the same way that Paul did, right? Like the choreographer gives you these steps and says like please take them on, which ironically kind of draws on to something that I think also happened with Pam Tanowitz's dance all at once. Is, you know, Michael Treznovek premiered a solo when we did at the Bach Festival, but when we brought it back for Lincoln Center later that year, you know, Pam with her jokes, she was like, okay, well, senior man's out, so I'm going to put the junior female in. So you took it on. But I felt like it was a very similar sort of thing where Pam was like, you don't need to necessarily recreate everything, all the nuances that Michael Tresmak would have. I want you to be yourself doing it.
Yeah, and that was a really fun one too because I had never worked with Pam before and done her style of dance.
Right.
That one really felt like this blank slate. Like I could really just come in and kind of color it with the way that I felt would be comfortable in my body and be exciting to do. So
Yeah.
that was really fun.
Yeah.
And
I remember you like, I know that you have such like a kind of a dry sense of humor sometimes, and like something about like the simpleness of like picking up your leg and putting it down, like it just gave me the giggles in a certain sort of way. And like just like, oh, okay, yes, that's very Maria, right? And like I don't know, there was a connection of like humor in it that I was just like, oh yeah, she's got this. It was great.
thanks. I think a lot of what I was thinking about during that solo too is like sort of like I mean, Michael Treznovek is a legend. He's fantastic, obviously. So my first season in was when a lot of these incredible dancers were retiring. And so here I come walking out to do this giant solo. And I was sort of like, I took it on as like, hey guys, yeah, I'm new. I'm going to dance for like.
Amazing. I want you to do
Yeah,
this whole phrase, and then I want you to retrograde it, and then I want you to like do it and then half retrograde. It was amazing.
yeah.
So good, so good. Everyone that is watching, I hope that you've been enjoying this. It is question and answer time. If you have any questions for Maria, ask her anything. She's knowledge incarnate. And I'll start us off. Oh, comment in the comments, or you can use like the little question thing. I'll see it and read it off to her. I was going to start with Maria. You, in addition to all this dancing that you're doing, you're also a fitness professional. I know you taught boxing for a while. So
Okay.
can you tell us anything about like what, do you see a connection from having been a fitness instructor to your job as like a dancer, any of that sort of thing? Like how, what's the parallels? How has that set you up in some sort of way?
Oh yeah, definitely, and especially with boxing because boxing is so rhythmic and really uses your back and footwork and everything, and memorizing combos. Oh, I see a little emojis. Oh yeah, boxing is hard. It's
It
really
is
it's.
hard.
But
I tried to do it and I was like, this takes a lot of like coordination.
oh yeah, definitely. And that's what drew me to it because I was looking for something to supplement my cardio, and I really don't like running at all. So I found boxing. Yeah, and then I needed to make a paycheck because it's New York City, and I started teaching in the fitness. I taught at Shadowbox,
Yeah.
and that was my job 7 days a week. I think one big parallel with to being a performer is that I had to really perform every day for these people who were paying about $40 to take a
Yeah.
class. So you can't show up and be like, oh, I'm having a tough day. You have to show up on, put your
Right.
little mic on, put your little playlist on, and like give them everything you got. So
Yeah.
that it's similar to performing anything.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally. And do you like use fitness to warm up now? Like, are you still like throwing in a jab or two, like grabbing some weights?
I'm always ready for a jab. But
I know,
yeah,
I've rehearsed with you.
I do. I like I a lot of the cross training I think is important. Working core, upper body, and boxing too. Like I don't like working my upper body. I don't like lifting weights, but when I incorporate some boxing into it, I'm like, okay, now I'm using my arms, and so
Yeah.
it gets me. It's I need to like activate my brain while I'm doing weights and cross training. So boxing helped me do that. So I try to keep it as much as I can.
Yeah. I mean, really the ideal, I think, of fitness is like when you establish that like mind body connection, which is so similar to like what you would be doing in so many classes of like feeling your body and your muscles and bones within it. So
Yeah.
talk to me about roles. Like, is there anything that like you're aching to like take on? I mean, this is our subtle way of like passing it up to the powers that be. So like, if there's any dream roles that you have, male, female, otherwise, like, let us know.
Okay. Well, you already know this one because I've been working on it. Sakura.
Yes.
Then you know what I want to do so badly
Is
is
what?
go back to Piazzolla and dance with you in that
I
duet
know.
because right before the world shut down, we had really started cooking,
I
right?
know. I know. I know. I was like trying to go back and like look at tapes of you dancing, and then I was just like, oh, that's right. We haven't gotten me and Maria doing Piazzolla yet.
I
Yeah,
know.
I know. We were figuring it out.
I loved it, and I remember I think wherever we did it last, maybe San Francisco, before everything shut down. I remember we had finally like sort of looked at each other and we're like, all right, that was it. We're getting it,
I
like it
know.
shows, and so I really want to go back to doing it because now I feel like okay, we got some shows in
Right,
with it.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like I was just like jumping into it, trying to like replace Trusnavec with Michelle and just kind of being like, I'm sorry, I'm not him. I know. Like, and she was just like, it's okay, baby. We're going to figure out how you and I fit in this together. And so, and then Michelle left, and then you came in, and I was just like, I'm going to teach you everything I remember that Michelle yelled at me for, and we're going to make this really good. Not that Michelle yelled. She was a wonderful partner, and we had great chemistry. We love, we love.
Yeah.
Um, so Madeline wrote in, and she's watching. Hi, Madeline.
Hi,
And she wanted
Madeline.
to know, like, was there anybody's parts whose roles did you think you would like most likely take on? Like, when you got the job, was that ever in your head of like, oh, I'm gonna get like these Connie parts or these Betty parts or any of that?
No, honestly, no. I wish, but I think I came in and I sort of was hungry to hear what what everyone thought what people saw me in.
Right.
That was important to me. I think I needed to hear from the higher powers how they saw me.
Yeah.
And, I didn't have Paul here, but that's something I think that a lot of Taylor dancers cherish, is how Paul saw them.
Yeah.
So I had no idea, to be honest. I think one role where I'm like, this feels right for me is my role in Cloven with the ball girl. Because I sort of feel like I always imagine that we're all at a dinner party, and I'm the party guest that started drinking the punch too early. And so I'm just separate from everyone and putting the ball on too soon. And so that feels, that's one role. I was like, I would watch that and be like, yeah, I want to do that. I could see myself doing it.
That'd be me. That'd be me.
Ah.
Amazing. Yeah, no, that's so true. Like, I don't know. I don't think I ever stepped in and going like, oh yeah, that's a part that like would be good for me. I'm always kind of like, well, you throw me what you think that I can handle, and if I can handle it, I will, and if not, then we'll change it up. But certainly you got a lot of like answers quickly about what they saw you doing. So I think you should talk to Laura and be like, well, what else do you have coming? Because there's a lot. But I mean, I have to nerd out and say that it's awesome that you're learning the Sakura solo, because Scud was choreographed to Sakura, and that part of the walking around is, I think, the only part that Paul kept from both. Like, if you put the score on, the same point that like the woman in red comes out and makes a circle before her solo is the same point that like Ruth Andrian originally came out before she does her duet with Chris Gillis. And I did that once. I nerded out and I actually like tried to put the score of Sakura over Scud, and it's so fun just to be like, oh, the bar dance is the women's trio, and this is, oh my gosh, yeah.
Totally.
If anybody wants to, it's a good fun time.
Right. That's exactly what I'm doing learning this, is that you introduced me to that DVD with Ruthie teaching Lisa Viola the solo. And once I found that, I was like, I just want to take advantage of this and watch this over and over and over again and listen to Ruthie. Because learning anything or listening or watching anything from an original role is just, untouchable.
Yeah. Not, publicly on Instagram, but I'm going to make Ruthie and you get onto like a Zoom chat, and she's going to coach you, and it's going to be amazing because like you've never experienced anything until Ruthie has coached you, especially on her own part. So
also, if you want to make an IG live, that could probably be
We'll chat. I'm going to talk to Laura. I'll talk to Michael Novak. It'll be great. So thank you so much, Maria, for joining us. I think that was a wonderful discussion. And if anybody has any more questions for Maria or I about anything, feel free to reach out to Paul Taylor or to Maria's private Insta, slide into those DMs. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. It was great having you. Thank you, Maria, for joining us. Lovely to talk to you.
So fun. It went by way too fast.
I know, it's always so fast, but I'll see you tomorrow. Let's talk more. Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Mwah. Bye. Yeah.